Shrinks, a male lady novelist and a double identity crisis.
She felt... feverishly, hungrily.
The romantic novelist, Rosemary Windrush.
What's wrong with that? Not saying it's easy, mind. Not everyone can do it.
What are you? A therapist or a media star? I don't think you can go on being both. Not here. Not anymore.
That shrinking feeling. Monday night drama on Central. Shrinks.
Watch Central for Sunday sport. Top soccer action in the match. And snooker. All the latest from the Pearl Assurance British Open. Excitement guaranteed in the great Sunday sports double here on Central. Sharon Gless, star of The Trials of Veysey O'Neill, Clive Anderson and Boy George, the special guests of Michael Aspel tonight on Central, and Aspel and company are coming up after the news.
The news from ITN.
Bush's deadline passes, Iraq tells him we're not moving. White House says the ground war can start at any time. Allies say Iraq has destroyed 100 oil wells. And the military speak of mass executions in Kuwait. Good evening. US military sources said tonight a ground war to drive Iraq from Kuwait could start at any time. President Bush's deadline for Saddam Hussein to pull out passed at 5 o'clock. In the last hour, the Pentagon confirmed there was no sign of an Iraqi withdrawal. Baghdad Radio tonight dismissed the Bush ultimatum as theatrical and said it would be ignored. Iraq greeted the deadline itself by firing another Scud missile at Israel. Pentagon sources said tonight the Allied commander, General Schwarzkopf, had now been told to take whatever military action he thought necessary. Today's other developments, the Americans say Iraqi troops are systematically executing Kuwaitis, including many who've been tortured. More oil wells have been set on fire. Military sources say dense black smoke now covers most of Kuwait. And tonight, the American battleship Missouri resumed its bombardment of Iraqi positions in Kuwait. But first, within minutes of President Bush's deadline passing, the White House said the ground offensive could come at any time. But spokesman Marlin Fitzwater refused to say when it would start. Tonight, the United Nations will go into informal session for a final attempt to end the Gulf War before a land offensive. And we hope to bring you a report on that later. Even before the deadline expired, Allied tanks began crossing into southern Iraq. Air attacks on Iraqi troop positions were also stepped up. Tonight, the Pentagon said Iraq had destroyed 100 oil wells in Kuwait and set fire to another 200. In this and other reports from the Gulf, certain operational details have been omitted for reasons of military security.
Next weekend that could decide the championship.
And that's all for now. The next scheduled news will be on Channel 4 beginning at 11:35. Here on ITV we have bulletins throughout the night. But from all of us here on the weekend team, good night.
As the war enters its final phase, who'll be the real winners and losers? For in-depth analysis, watch War in the Gulf this Sunday at 1:15 on ITV.
Good evening. Well, today proved rather a damp squib in a lot of places with quite a bit of rain, particularly for North and South Wales, and flooding. Now, all these dark bits and pieces of cloud here represent that rain, and there's no let-up, not just yet in any case, with a huge wodge of cloud out here to the west, and this is bringing more rain tonight for Scotland and also for Northern Ireland. So let's move on to tonight's weather, and there we see that rain in the very far northwest, in more than a few other places as well. At least it'll be a mild night. Temperatures, we don't expect them to get much below 7 anywhere, in fact, and at least no fog or frost problems for tonight. So we go into tomorrow, and there we see that rain again across Scotland, although things will clear later on in the day. Further south, for Wales, for the north of England, the day does get off to a grey and grizzly start, but things will brighten up later on. As for the far southeast, it will take some while for the brightness to reach down there after a bit of a false bright start. So, come afternoon, a bright and breezy day more or less sums it up for practically the whole of the country. There will be bits and pieces of rain in the southeast and some showers in the far northwest. Another favourable day for temperatures, an average of round about 10, which is 50. That breeze eases off just a touch. That's all from me for the time being. Here's the summary.
Hello there. Well, despite the wind, some parts of the region have in fact recorded their mildest day since November, would you believe? And there's a mild night to come, no lower than around 10 Celsius. It'll stay cloudy, breezy, just the odd spot of rain here and there. Tomorrow, some heavy rain coming through in the morning, and this will clear to sunshine in the afternoon and becoming cooler as it clears.
A singer long dead whose legend lives on.
He was stabbed to death during a rehearsal of the Barry Barnes Big Show. This is an exact recreation of your first number on your first show.
Could history be repeated with another showbiz murder?
If Richie King's killer escaped 25 years ago, he's done a pretty good job of covering his tracks.
Are you telling me this was a perfect crime? Somebody moving in the dark.
A theatrical phantom haunting Murder, She Wrote, Sunday night on Central.
Aspel's company are lining up next on Central. Will it be a trial for Rosie O'Neill or a culture shock for Boy George? Aspel in a moment.
He's the face that launched 1,000 quills.
Do go on in. I'm sorry I can't join you.
But I've done so many charities lately that I've got to change my name from Ben Elton to Benevolent.
He's painting the funnier side of life.
Hi, kids. It's cartoon time. What have we got this week? It's one I know you're just going to like.
You'll love it. Sunday night on Central. The hilarious Phil Cool in Cool Head.
Now on Central, Aspel and Company.
Thank you. Thank you very much, and good evening, and welcome to show number 7 of 14. We're halfway through the series. Doesn't time fly, unlike some international superstars, as we found to our cost. Actually, we have managed very well for guests without resorting to satellite or interviews that were recorded several months ago. We like to have them here in the pulsating flesh. Now, not all the stars are afraid to fly. Some still have the pioneer spirit, none more so than the feisty lady who is joining me tonight. Star of the much-loved Cagney and Lacey television series and currently a big hit as lawyer Rosie O'Neill, Sharon Gless. I'll also be welcoming someone who's made a habit of boldly going where very few have gone before, the new-look Boy George. Firstly, a man it's devilish hard to pin down. He's been in his time a fearless critic, satirical poet, dynamic chat show host, and, as we can now reveal, a closet pop star. An album of his creations called Touch Has a Memory has just been released. This kid will go far. Ladies and gentlemen, Clive James. Well,